What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another 5-9 Gaming Direct podcast. My name is Tallen, and I am joined by the awesome trio that is Lethal, LittleBobby, and Chin. If you missed our first podcast, which we still don't have a name for it because I still can't get a PS5, so this could be a while until we finally get a name for this podcast. But let us know your thoughts down below in the comments for an actual name for the podcast. But if you missed the first one, that'll be up in the top right corner. But today we got a bunch of extra topics to talk about, and we're just gonna get straight into this because last time we talked for a while. So first off, if you guys have not seen our review for it by our own actual PlatinumChin here, and actual Bobby wrote the script and everything, but we have reviewed the Pokemon remakes, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and we're going to talk about it because all of us here have played those games, including the originals when we were kids and everything like that. Let's just go and get started. Let's start with LittleBobby. What have you been thinking about the remakes so far in terms of Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond?
I really dig them. I did not play the originals, so for me it's like a totally new experience. And I know Chin, when he was like 10 or whatever when they came out originally, played them all the time. He would sit around with his DS and his little what was it, a Dialga stylus that you had?
I did. It was a giant, it was like 6 inches long and had a little plastic Dialga at the tip of it.
Wow.
Yeah, like I remember that, and it was he would always just go on how it's like so great. And so when it came out, he was like, you got to play it now, man, because now it's out. It's coming on Switch. And so being able to play through it as part of the review process with him was really, really cool. I actually loved Sinnoh as a region. I did not love not having any fire Pokemon. But aside from that, it was really cool. I thought the story was interesting for a Pokemon game. You know, like it's kind of like how in Ruby and Sapphire they kind of started getting those bigger stories and just like, yeah, we're the bad guys. Yeah, it's like started being like, we're trying to like destroy the world, or like, you know what I mean? Like those started, and I thought that was really cool. And Cynthia can kiss my ass. But
yes, I'm glad you brought up Cynthia because what was that,
dude?
Like the most MLG strats from that Elite Four, and then Cynthia came out, and yeah, I had to try that a few times and go level up, like go get myself over leveled.
Yeah.
For the final battle there, and make sure I farmed money so I could bring in like 50 revives and full heal.
Right, full restores. That was
Full
literally
restores,
me.
the whole 9 yards.
That
That's
was
right.
literally
You
me
could
too.
But yeah,
All
I actually loved it as a first time player of Diamond and Pearl. I thought it was a lot of fun. Really, really good generation.
All right, Lethal, how about you, man? How far have you gotten through the game?
I mean, I pretty much beat it. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't really care for the story. I don't think I ever really cared too much for Pokemon story, at least just me personally. This one was one where I was like, you know what? I want to jump right to end game, post game content, right? That's where I was excited for. That's usually where I'm excited for, right? Legendary hunting. And I know I think I vented about this on Twitter, and I know LittleBobby got a little piece of it. And I was telling him, and I was like, listen, what in God's name were they thinking? Putting these shards to pretty much unlock the ability to go ahead and try to capture or battle, whatever you want to do with the legendary Pokemon. I absolutely hated that idea of having to go to the stupid underground mining to get these stupid random shards that were just so random. I hated it for exactly that reason. I mean, the game was good, but I mean, I feel like that really ruined my experience with it because I just wanted to like either go to a cave, or let it be random. I got to find it on the map, like Mesprit or something. I don't care, however you want to do it. But yeah, that really ticked me off towards the end there. But I mean, besides that, it was. I wasn't expecting anything like brand new. I mean, I feel like it was exactly how they described it, a faithful remake. If you played the originals, right? Yeah, it was like to the core faithful. I mean, I don't think they did too much out of box things different. I'm sure some things have changed. Probably more, if anything, was like the underground itself. At least when I was a kid, I remember being able to run into like, what was that, Garchomp down there or something like that. So I know they changed. I know they changed some things, obviously to make some sense with that. So I do like some of those changes, but the biggest thing that I hated was the fact that you had to get the mysterious shards, whether it was a small or a large. 3 small, which sucked. And if you got lucky, you found a large. But it took me literally like an hour sometimes just to find one small shard, and I was like, this sucks. This is like just not, I don't know, at least for someone who cares mostly for like that post game stuff, right? That was for me like the biggest, like, I didn't like that.
Well,
but besides
also,
that, I mean, it was all right.
They make like legendary hunting in other Pokemon post games like so easy. Like Sun and Moon, you just go through the worm holes. I know. What was it? Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Like you either go on Latios and Latios and find them in the sky, but I know you can find like Ho and Lugia just at the end of like the crashed ship if you have the item. Yeah. Like it's really easy to shiny hunt, and they made it a chore in this one, and it's in order too, which sucks. Because what if you just want to just
that's
hunt
what really
one?
killed it. That's
like,
what killed it for me, dude.
Imagine you want to hunt all the shinies. Like just say you want to. Say you're someone who's crazy like that. Now you're forced to do an order. Say you just wanted to get Lugia shiny first, and you're like, you know what? I'll do the other ones in my own time. But now you're forced to like either skip those or shiny hunt those before you can even get to the actual Pokemon you want. And that's a poor choice. That's a poor choice.
Yeah.
Very poor choice.
Yeah, I will definitely say that, especially because again, like Lethal brought up, where because I got to the end game this past couple days actually, and by the way, Cynthia, first time, so LittleBobby, get better.
So I'm old, Tallen.
But anyway, no. But I do have to say thankful to LittleBobby because he did help me get Piplups mid evolution. That was one of the few Pokemon I was missing from the Pokedex to unlock the national deck. So I will say thank you for that. But it's kind of split for me because I love the post game in terms of getting a ton of the Pokemon in the underground, you know, getting all the starters and everything, which is really cool. I've been breeding those guys to start them from level 1 because I want to keep certain moves and get rid of other moves that they know because they're like level 60 when you find them in the underground now. So I love being able to do that and everything, get all these extra cool Pokemon, not to mention actual fire Pokemon. I mean, come on. Like seriously, but I definitely agree with Lethal where the whole shard thing to then buy the slate to then in order go for certain legendary Pokemon. I'm just like, because I'm currently on the 3 rock dudes, you know, Regigigas, or not Regigigas,
the Reggies,
those guys.
I wish Regigigas was in there.
Yeah, well, he is, but you have to catch all 3 of the Reggies,
you have to have 3
and then
Reggies
you go
first.
to Snow Point Town, and you go up north, and you can go in and get them.
Oh, look at that!
The temple.
Yep.
See, that's what I like. That's what I like. Do something cool. Don't make me go and have to farm these things for the rest of them now. Like that's where I was like, all right.
Well, now you get both. You get the experience and you get the classic
experience and the somewhat experience. But I will say one thing though. This is my own personal opinion. You guys can disagree, and you guys in the chat can disagree if you want to. I personally, it's kind of a pick your poison here. But I do prefer the shards over having to go into the wild and chase those Pokemon because it just brings back horror memories of the 3 dogs from Silver and Gold back in the days. If you guys remember those.
Yes.
Just, oh my gosh, that was terrible. I remember, if I remember correctly, it was Entei. Entei gave me the biggest pain of just trying to finally get that guy. And every single time I ran into him, the dude would just roar, send my Pokemon back, and he ran away every single time. I was like,
Tallen, let me teach you. You get mean look on one Pokemon with high speed stat, done. They get stuck in the battle, they can't escape, and then done.
Half the time it didn't matter.
Or, you know what?
Dude is just like,
that's what I used to do. That's what I used to do, at least.
You just gotta get good and use a quick ball. You just crush his
brain. One and done.
That's what it is nowadays.
Oh my god!
I like that Boondocks meme.
I've had quick ball work twice for me because you had used it in the first time, but other than that, man, those quick balls, like half the time they never work.
They don't really. It's cool when they do, but
it's cool when they do because you're like, first time, and then after that you're just like, oh.
Did anybody actually customize their capsule ball or whatever? I'm just curious. I skipped over that.
I did one for the review.
I never even did it in the. I never did it in the old one. There was a lot of gimmicky features in the old one, like Chatot. Talking to Chatot and I did do it, but it was also just like the microphone on the Nintendo DS back in the day was like awful. It's horrible. I mean, what could you expect?
Awful,
and they're like
horrible, terrible.
They're like Chatot will repeat what you say. So you say like hello, and it comes out like the microphone's just awful.
Sounds like one of the sand people from Star Wars.
That's exactly what they sound like.
Lord.
Sorry about your ears.
God.
My bad.
It's okay. Sorry, listeners.
Sorry, listeners. We'll make sure to teach Chin a lesson after that. But overall though, I think I can speak for all of us in whether the ups and downs. I think it's been fun at least revisit them for a little bit, whether or not you are sticking with a lot of the end game, because I personally love playing the end game. Actually got my girlfriend into it, which was funny. She actually went out, she bought a Switch, she bought Pearl, and we literally were up for like 3 hours after dinner the other day, just playing in the other ground because we both beat Cynthia. And then she's like, hey, I have this from Pearl. I want that from Diamond. Can we trade real quick? I was like, yeah, sure. So
that's nice.
Next thing you know, 3
That's
hours
nice.
go by, and I'm like, don't you have work tomorrow? And she's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, okay, well, we should go to bed then.
That's touching.
Yeah.
Pokemon with your lady friend. I like it.
Exactly, yeah.
Call that a W.
There you go.
There we go. So, but anyway, guys, if you have missed our review, make sure you go check it out. It'll be down in the description / up in the top right. Chin did an amazing job with recording that. And again, shout out to our editor, Stray, for the awesome edits as usual on that stuff. So go check that out if you want to. But why don't we go on to something that's definitely had really hype and now is still hype, but has a lot of controversy around it. But if you guys don't know what we're talking about already, it's Halo Infinite. It dropped, 2 weeks early compared to when it was supposed to release? It's supposed to release this upcoming Tuesday, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And now it's been
This is
out
like
for
3 weeks early.
something like that.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people were very impressed with the fact that, they actually took a year off, which I definitely give them praise for, taking a whole year off, or pushing it back an entire year, I should say, really hammering it, making it look good, connections, the whole 9 yards. But, there's been a lot of missing features that have been pointed out that we've had in past Halo games, like Halo 2 and everything like that. And then there's the progression. So all you guys have played it, to my knowledge. What are you guys' thoughts?
I understand people's frustrations, especially longtime Halo players, especially when you're doing like ranked mode and things like that, and really, really trying to get your progression up. And that matters a lot to people in FPSs, especially like things like Call of Duty, Battlefield. This might be a hot take, but I kind of just play Halo to just goof off. I'm not a serious
out here with the hot takes all the time.
I'm not a serious Halo player. I love playing Halo, but like, I'll play it and I'll play the objective. I know a biggest complaint people have is that there's a lot of new players that don't play the objective. I don't know if you guys have seen that complaint where people are like,
I've seen that complaint since
all the time,
2009. So,
like,
everything.
I play the objective. Like I play the game mode I play, but like if I don't progress, I'm like, I just teabag my kills and I just have a good time. I don't know, but I get
you were the one who got me the other day.
I get if people are upset though, right? And I know, especially like I think there's XP boosts hidden behind the battle pass, right?
Yeah.
Which for a free multiplayer doesn't surprise me because like Fortnite does that. And a lot of battle royale style games do that with their battle pass systems. And so on one hand, I'm like, I get it. And on the other hand, I'm like, what did you expect? In the day and age of free multiplayers and battle passes, that's what they do
the
now.
moment you saw free, you should just always click bells the moment you see the word
exactly.
free to play. Like there should be no surprises. Like, I don't know, just put it out there for anybody who's like, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, no, the moment you heard free to play, right, multiplayer and everything, that should have struck major bells.
Yeah,
I mean, not being surprised for any decisions they make for putting anything behind, right, like a battle pass, like higher tier, whatever the case may be.
I mean, they have to find enticing ways to get you to pay them. Like, yes, it's a free game, but they're a business at the end of the day.
And the thing about a free to play game is that they will make money off of you forever. Right, as long as you're playing.
Yes.
Because if you're playing and getting a battle pass, and that happens every 2 to 3 months, and you play that game for like 5 years because they keep constantly updating it, they've gotten way more from you than they will, for you paying $60.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
And so that's kind of the way of the world. Now, when it comes to the progression, I think the event progression was that was a terrible decision. I don't know who made that decision that you could only unlock 1/5 of it per week, and there's only 5 weeks.
Yeah,
that's the worst decision I've seen in an online multiplayer game in a while. The normal progression, it was kind of slow. It's so much better now. It's like you can get a level just by playing. What is it? It's by playing 6 or 7 matches a day. You're basically guaranteed a level in your battle pass.
That's
guaranteed.
It is definitely better than what it was, because I mean, at the very beginning, it was 50 points or something like that, if just for completing a match. And I think, and one thing I will say, the one thing I've seen a lot of people complain about is the fact that you have all these challenges, right? And you're like, okay, do a challenge, get some experience, right? But the problem is that a lot of those challenges are around particular game modes or not actually doing what a particular game mode is asking you to do. And it's all random. You can't select, like, hey, I only want to play oddball or I only want to play team deathmatch or something like that. It's all random, which has a benefit of, hey, you get to introduce all these modes to people and they might, enjoy it. But at the same time, you're trying to get this, experience or unlock this. And it's just like, I can't because you're forcing me to play this 3 times on this random map that I don't like or anything like that.
Don't like this.
Which is why I've always personally thought that they need to, keep what they have. I get it. If they want to stay that way, that's fine. But I think that doing simple things like playing the objective, getting a multi-kill or something like that, right? Scale it so it's not just simply overtaking and no one does the challenges or anything, but give a little experience. I think let's meet in the middle, right? Let's get a little experience from getting that stuff, because I am somebody actually personally, when I play a multiplayer game, I like to see my progress. I don't need to gain 50 levels in a match or something like that. That's ridiculous. But I do like to say, hey, I contributed to the game. I played the objective. I'm going off Battlefield, for example, here. I healed. I did all this stuff and everything. And I like to see that, and I get rewarded for it, right? I did what you guys in the, the developers asked me to do in the game. So I like that I get a little reward for it. But at the same time, again, just scale it back a little bit and be like, okay, you know what? Instead of the normal 100 points for a kill, you get 25 or something like that. I don't know. Just throwing a random number out there. But at least it seems like they are listening. But at the same time, I get why people are upset. So,
right.
Yeah. And the thing about Halo 2 is that this Halo is really, really good. Like the gameplay, the gunplay, the overall, just like the movement, the new things like the repulsor and the grapple are all really awesome. And it feels like Halo, but it's definitely updated, right? You can sprint, you can slide. There's new stuff to it. But at the same time, the problems with progression, there's also problems with like crashing, especially if you're like someone who's playing the competitive modes. That is really bad. And the optimization, like I'm really hoping next week when like the game, the campaign and stuff drops, there's just a big optimization patch because, we talked about it last time. I have a pretty meaty system, right? I've got a 3080, a Ryzen 5900X. And if I'm on like high settings, I'm at like 95 to 98 FPS.
You should be seeing way more than that. You should easily.
Especially in a competitive game, right? Like
exactly.
You'd think.
And they're not, and it's not rendering a ton of things, right? This isn't like some battle royale or trying to put 100 players on the map or something like that.
No,
it's what, 8 players.
It's 8 players, or like if you're playing big team battle, it's what, 24?
24.
Right?
We've been doing that for years now. And again, I get it. Engines get updated. They make it look more pretty and everything like that. Like, I totally get that and everything. But if I remember correctly, isn't the Xbox Series X targeting 4K 120 FPS on this game?
Yeah. And so what that tells me is they only optimized it for their consoles.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, so either A, you guys are bad at optimizing this game for the PC, or it's not really hitting 120 on 4K on Xbox.
Honestly, it has to be pretty unoptimized because, like, it's weird because on my system, I wasn't looking at FPS necessarily, but just like it was very smooth for mine. Like I thought it ran great. I loved it. I didn't have one hiccup when in like the multiple matches that I've played. But I have less of a system than Bobby does, and if he's running into like his system struggling to hit 90 FPS in that game, like there's some major issues. Like, and it's weird. You know, I've seen this in a lot of recent games for the newer hardware, and I really just wonder what it is. Like, what New World had a bunch of issues.
It's something about the 30s cards, I think, right? Because we've seen it with New World, like you just mentioned. We've seen it with Battlefield. We've seen it with Halo now. It's like, what's going on with these cards? Like, is it because the average, I almost wonder, is it because the average consumer doesn't have, these cards, and so they can't see the problems, and they can't, whether it's updating the drivers or communicating with developers and everything. I don't know what it is, but
it's weird.
Well, no, I think what it is that in New World's case, I can't answer that. That just seems so weird that it's like frying 30 series cards.
Yeah.
With Battlefield and Halo, The answer is very simple. It's that they're both very processor heavy and not optimized. Like
Right.
if you open your system resources when you're playing Halo, my processor would be at like 85, 90%.
It should not be.
And I have
should not
like
be
a
like
12
that.
core, crazy processor that I can like do Photoshop and render a video and be watching stuff and be playing a game all at the same time, and it's fine. And then I play Halo and it's like, oh no, you thought.
You thought you were gonna get good performance? Oh,
Yeah.
you poor little sucker, you.
And I guarantee it's the same thing for Battlefield, and it's probably just how the games are made that they rely so much on the processor because there's like the maps are so big, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there's like little elements of destruction that go on, like
Yeah.
with the vehicles, and with like the little like, I know they said in the Halo campaign there's going to be all sorts of cool destructible environments and stuff. It's not in the multiplayer, but it could still be like in the background coded that stuff because of the same assets do that.
Yeah.
It just
Right.
doesn't do it in the multiplayer. And so all these crazy assets are wearing on your processor, and they didn't take the time on Windows, ironically, Microsoft, to optimize it right. And so it's causing all sorts of problems for everybody. But it's unfortunate because really, if they get it optimized, if they get the progression systems down, Halo Infinite is going to be something that sticks around for years. Like
Yeah.
really does.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing they need to fix after that then is unfortunately we've been seeing the influx of cheaters, which
Yep.
we kind of saw in the moment you saw free to play on any game, you're just like, oh boy, the cheaters are gonna have a field day with this.
Yep.
Supposedly Xbox put out a tweet though apparently about that they anticipated this, and it's like, okay, so are you just waiting until the 8th to roll out this special anti-cheat software or something, or what's the deal here? So
Did they announce like a patch is coming with the campaign? I feel like I didn't see that.
I haven't seen anything
curious.
personally. I don't know. Bobby, have you seen anything?
I haven't. I know that they have been doing a lot of work really quickly. So that's a good sign.
I mean, this is a big game,
I mean, it's
Yeah.
still technically the beta, even though it's like the full release.
It's
still
the full
technically
release.
the beta.
Let's be honest.
Rockstar
Yeah.
did the
Right.
same thing with Red Dead Online. It is the full release.
I
It
know
is
it's
the
a full
full
release. What I'm hoping for is that they do on day one, like I said, have some optimization patch, because if they can do that, I think it's going to be in a much better spot. Like if you can stop it from crashing and make it run better, like I can deal with the progression being a little shaky. It might take you a while to work that out, right? Exactly how to do it,
Right.
especially if this first like season pass is longer than ones in the future,
5
right?
months or something like that.
Yeah,
I
it's supposed to be
think.
like 5-6 months.
Oof.
For a battle pass?
And so the other ones might be
Yeah.
for the Halo one.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So the other
And
one might be
yeah.
like 3 months, right? And they might go, well, that is like now our progression is too fast for a 6-month one, so we're going to tone it back. Then when it gets to the 3-month one, they're like, well, now it's too slow, right?
So tune it up basically.
Yeah. So I mean, it might have to be a dynamic thing that they really mess with, like on a season by season basis,
Mhm.
until they can get something consistent. But making the game run consistently, I think, is the biggest thing they need to do right now. It's like stop it from crashing, especially when people are trying to do competitive, like ranked stuff, and make it run as smooth as you can. Like people talk about Fortnite, but Fortnite's one of like the smoothest running games I've ever played. Epic has mastered that game. They add all this crazy stuff into it, and it runs like perfect. Like you run it on your phone and it's like 120 FPS. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's crazy how well optimized Fortnite is. At least the last time I played it, well, it wasn't that long ago. It was a couple months ago. But yeah, something like Battlefield and Halo. It's like you guys need to take that time to make sure your game is running the way it's supposed to. Right.
I won't rant here too long, just because if anyone here follows me on Twitter, you know that I rant about Battlefield, unfortunately, with their poor optimization and everything. But I'm still waiting for that article, because there is absolutely no way that multiplayer was worked on for 3 years. I give it a year at most. There's absolutely no way.
Battlefield?
I'm waiting for the article to say that, look, this is what really happened. Hazard Zone / some kind of BR was the main thing for like a year and a half, and they canned the BR. They took what elements they could from Hazard Zone to turn it into something else, and then they focused on the actual multiplayer because they feared the backlash and everything. And it's only a year. I'm just saying that right now. We'll wait for the article to come out. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you with that. When it comes to Battlefield is not in a spot where it's even remotely close to done. Like, and you said it, I think the last podcast, it's going to take 6 months to a year for that game to be where it should have been.
Yeah, no,
When they
exactly.
released it.
Exactly. So, all right, let's move on before we start ranting even more. But as you guys know, it is now December, and it's a pretty slow month for games, which I think our wallets are thanking us, thankfully.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to buy too much, although it is Christmas, so, you know, that's, I guess, another way to kill our wallets.
Yeah, it wasn't the most hype what's coming out in December video, but you guys should still check it out regardless.
Yes,
you know?
definitely check that out. Again, Chin here recorded that.
My beautiful voice
up
is
in the top right corner.
Stray's beautiful editing crafted it and pieced it together. It is worth a watch.
I love Stray's editing so
I'd
much.
love it.
yeah.
Stray,
Oh
you
my
real
God,
one.
Stray's the best.
Stray,
Stray's the GOAT.
He's so good.
Shout out to Stray.
But there is one thing that is coming out. I mean, obviously we have, you know, Halo Infinite campaign coming out, but I think it might be not as hype. I'm using air quotes here, simply because the multiplayer's been out already, right? And so obviously I know a ton of people are excited for it. Obviously, I definitely want to try it and check it out. But I know it's, you know, there's probably just instead of being like 100%, maybe it's like 90% hype now. You know, it's just like, but regardless, but one big thing that always tends to usually bring out some good reveals and everything is the Game Awards that are coming out. Make sure you guys sub to the channel as always, though, because we are going to be having a ton of videos covering not only those Game Awards, but our own personal list of Game Awards and everything for the month of December and just kind of the year of gaming in 2021. But what are you guys most excited for with the Game Awards? Are you expecting any kind of big reveals? Do you think something's going to be revealed? What are your thoughts?
Yes. Sony.
Exactly that.
Sony has that hidden remake of something huge. I'm still like,
oh God,
I'm still gripping onto the fact that I like that it's Metal Gear Solid 1. That's what I want. I know there's like reports that it was another what was the Lethal Doomer with the franchise?
Chrono
It
Cross.
was
I don't want Chrono Cross.
There's that.
I want Metal Gear Solid
People
1.
were also speculating Snake Eater too. That was the other one.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you played Metal Gear, you would know why it would be Snake Eater. Just putting it out there.
It was the what was
you know?
I know, but what was like that big hint people were looking at? It's something about a song, like an Irish song.
Yeah,
Irish
someone said they were
songwriter,
recording
and people were like, oh, well, there was like the only original PlayStation game that had like
they were recording a
an
song
original like
for
Irish song was Metal
for
Gear
a
Solid
game that
1.
was
So I was
coming
just
out
like, I'm gonna just
at
take
the
that
Game
enough
Awards
and
or
get my
something.
hopes up and then let them be crushed.
something like
when
that.
it's not on Metal Gear Solid 1.
Maybe, I don't know.
I just recently replayed it back in like June, and I would love a new one of that. That's what I want.
Kojima, man.
Are we talking about like just a simple remake, or are we talking like a full like Final Fantasy VII style thing?
I'm talking Final Fantasy VII style. Like I want that thing to be as beautiful.
I would probably prefer that.
I feel like if we use the term remake now, it has to be that level of Final Fantasy VII. You know what I mean?
Those games
received
received multiple, I think, HD remasters. I think it's time for a remake.
Yeah, an actual remake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been. I think it's been long enough. I don't know if people are gonna like that.
Hello?
But
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
can
can.
now.
Oh, that was weird.
Hi.
Yeah, a little bit. The internet. Sorry about that.
You're still there, buddy.
It just went to red, and I couldn't hear anybody. I'm like, well, R.I.P. our podcast. Anyways, continue where you were. Excuse me.
No, we were talking about, you know, it's time for an actual remake of the Metal Gear compared to a remaster. Right?
Remakes like and like they like certain companies, but like Capcom's like Resident Evil remakes are like that, and Final Fantasy VII are like that's what a remake needs to be. Now I love Diamond and Pearls because they were honest and said this is a faithful remake. Like cool. You said that from the get-go. I knew what to expect with Diamond and Pearl, but like Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil 2, like those are like you can't go any lower than that when you say I'm remaking like an old classic.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was gonna say too, like if you played, what was it? Was it PT? At the time, that was the one big Kojima, potential game. But at the time, it was like, if you fully played that, there was a whole like little like cutscene thing at the very end. I think it was Norman Reedus and everything. If you fully unlocked like the true ending, but whatever engine that was, I think that is, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same engine that ended up being used for Death Stranding. Which I don't care what nobody says. If you played Death Stranding, That's one hell of a game. Before you call it a walking simulator and all this crap. I just played the
I thought it was a mailbox simulator.
Good. No, whatever. No. To play that game. But regardless, the point was how beautiful that game looked. Put that
it looked beautiful.
on top of Metal Gear. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
That was the same engine they used for Horizon, I think. It was the Gorilla engine.
I believe so.
It might have been, yeah.
It just.
I remember Kojima came out and was like, I looked around everywhere for the engine that's going to let me do what I want. And I want to thank Guerrilla Games because their engine is the one that it's gonna make Death Stranding
about that,
like
right?
a thing. Yeah, he tweeted about it, and Guerrilla was like,
that.
"Hey, thanks for the shout out, Kojima." Like, if I was in, I would say the same thing. Speaking of which, let's hope we get a Horizon Forbidden West trailer at the Game Awards because that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I would be if I had a PS5. I know it's on PS4, but
we can get the upgrade talent.
We might see a second God of War trailer too. I mean, they gave us a really big trailer, but it's possible to see like more gameplay.
Really I don't know if I'm expecting a God of War trailer just because of the one we had. So
it was pretty.
That was definitely the big one recently from the PlayStation event.
Well, that and Spider-Man too, but Spider-Man's was more of like a teaser.
That's too far.
Spider-Man 2, dude,
it's too far.
It is too far.
It's way too far. I don't think we'll see that. But there's the one game that I want to see that I swear to God I don't think I've seen it all year. If I'm not mistaken, unless it was in the beginning of the year, I don't think so. But like, I didn't see that Square Enix in their presentation for the Japan showcase. I don't think PlayStation showed it off either in the recent showcase. But it's Final Fantasy 16. That's the one game that I've been dying to see more about, and it's been like nowhere. And so
not even the Tokyo Game Show showed it off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that was the one to do it,
game, and it wasn't even there.
Instead, we got the chaos. You know, we had the origins. I forget the Strangers of Paradise. I think it's what it's called. Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy, which looks okay. I don't know. I played the demo. I think we all play the demo, or did only one of us?
I didn't get a chance to play it. No,
I didn't get a chance to play it.
It was all right. It's their own take on a Souls like kind of experience. So it's pretty cool. I think people will probably like it. But the big one is, I feel like for me, Final Fantasy 16. I need to know what's going on with that game because I expect it to come out hopefully next year, maybe. At this point, I don't know.
And Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 also, like just Final Fantasy in general needs to like, hey, what's going on with the games that you have us like expecting right now?
Yes.
How did their Battle Royale, was that the phone game? You played that, right, Tal?
Mobile. I think it just came out.
You played it?
It just came out lethal. How is that?
I played it. It's all right. I mean, it's
fun.
I don't know. I'm also not the biggest like battle royale person, but like, I mean, I feel like that game has potential to be like even like do more than just the battle royale part of it. Like if they introduce like PvE, more PvE based stuff to it, I think it could be a lot more fun in that way. But then again, it just feels weird sometimes like playing those games and it's like a shooting. Obviously, it's all about like getting different guns and stuff like that. Even though like in that world, I want to have like a giant sword. I want to summon materia and like, you know what I mean? Like I want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much of the weapons and worry about that. Like that to me is kind of weird, but it's all right. I mean, for free to play game, right? I'm not expecting anything crazy. But for Final Fantasy stuff, I think you guys nailed it. I think more remake stuff because Intergrade was phenomenal. I don't know have you guys played Intergrade?
No, I've played through
I've
played through a lot of the remake on the when it got the PS5 upgrade with Intergrade, but I didn't play Intergrade.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Oh my god, it looked beautiful. Episode Yuffie, what they did with that. Oh, Jesus Christ! When that game comes out.
Yeah, but so because we've obviously been talking about the Game Awards, then so what is your top game for the year for 2021? Just go ahead.
Oh my god, you can't just toss that.
I'm looking at my game.
I gotta do the math, man. I
gotta do the math. Damn.
That's a very intimate and personal question, Tallen. And I thank you to mind your own damn business.
There's so many options. I mean, for me personally, I don't know. I loved Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, but I've always been like a big Ratchet and Clank fan. But there were some big games that surprised me. I think one of them was like Kena. I know Bobby loved Kena too.
Was
fun
game.
Such a good game. So like that one, I was hoping would be like nominated for Game of the Year, but it wasn't, and I was like,
it's at least in the top.
It has a couple
indie, I believe.
It's the top indie and in the best debut indie. Yeah, it's in both.
If it does not win that category, I call shenanigans. There's absolutely no way it doesn't win.
If it doesn't win debut indie, then there's something wrong with it.
I don't even know what's in that category because that's
Nothing that competes with Kena.
I don't know what competes with Kena.
Yeah, it's as simple as that.
There's
don't
this. I would consider it more indie. Unless because I'm not familiar with the developer, but there was a game that came out earlier this year. It was like a horror game. It was The Medium. Oh
God, I remember that game.
It's honestly one of my favorite games this year. Like, I liked that game a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it had a very cool, I wouldn't say gimmick, because it was actually like a really unique take on like a dual world kind of story. Did any of you guys play it? But Lethal, did you play it?
No, but I watched you play. I think you streamed it, right? For
I did.
I
streamed
think we
it
had stream.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I watched some of it. I watched some of it. I didn't play it.
So fun, and it was creepy, and it was interesting, and it had like a really good like story to tell. Is it on the level of Kena? No, but Kena,
You've had some hot takes already,
but like,
so I'm
Kena
expecting a
is
hot
like,
take from you.
But the thing is with Kena, it's like Kena is like above and beyond, right? Like that is like we haven't seen an indie game like just like come out swinging like that. Medium is great. I had a lot of fun.
I think it's like 12 people. I think it's like 12
and
people.
they're an animation
Sorry, I just had to
studio.
put that in there. It's just insane. A team of like that small to come out with a product like AAA, quadruple A. I don't care. It's huge.
And like
I think that game is beautiful.
It is. It is.
Well, I'm sure if you actually like if you just went to some random people who, play video games, but they don't really watch the news or anything like that on it, and you simply held up Kena and then you held up, some other AAA game, they'd probably look at it and say, yeah, those are both AAA games or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Like the amount of quality and everything. It's just like, it's ridiculous. So
Kena does have best debut in indie against Sable, The Artful Escape, The Forgotten City, and Valheim. Valheim was a really popular game for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it fell off.
I've
never heard anybody after like the
it's
month or
a
something.
fun game, but like it's been done. It's just Rust as Vikings, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the reason it was, I'm gonna be honest, the reason it was popular is because it came out right when Rust was huge again on Twitch. And everyone is playing Rust, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is Rust, but Vikings. Let's check it out." That's not to discredit the game, but to me, that really boosted it in people's eyes of how good it was. Because it's simple, it's fun, but it got help from big streamers, and like the true testament to a game is how can it do when it's not like the forefront of things, like like Among Us, right? It was dead for a couple years, and then it took off because of Twitch.
2 years. Oh, you know what? Best independent game. I haven't played it, but Death's Door is on there, and I've heard that's also really good.
Yeah, I've heard about that game too. Yeah,
I've heard nothing but really good things about that. Now, personally, I'm not like I want to play it, but I'm not I'm not a person who has experience with Death's Door. But for me, it's really going to be hard to top Kena and how great that game was.
Yeah, I know a lot of the like the top, the game of the year essentially nominees are things like Resident Evil Village, Ratchet and Clank, which Lethal, you talked about that you really love that game and everything.
Yeah.
Then you have like Metroid Dread, and there's a few others on there and everything.
Deathloop, It Takes Two, and Psychonauts 2.
Yep. Yeah, which I swear, like when I saw It Takes Two, I'm like, didn't that game come out like years ago or some other game? Like I think I'm confused.
You're thinking of the prison one. You're thinking of the one where you're
A Way Out. You're thinking of A Way Out
Because
because it was the same studio and same director.
That's why. Yeah, I was just like, didn't that game come out years
now?
ago?
This game that's another game that I think got a lot of help from like Twitch and big people, because not to discredit, because it's actually a great concept. It's actually great fun, especially because there's a huge lack of like unique, almost couch co-op style games like that.
I feel like that's why it's up there too.
And
it brought back something that like I think a lot of people haven't really touched upon,
and they really want to play it
too often, at least.
And especially during the crazy year and a half or almost 2 years that we've been in this pandemic, like that's something that would be a lot of fun for people. Like we're stuck at home. Why don't we play this really fun co-op game? And that's a testament to that game. That's good. But at the same time, it's like, like honestly, I'd probably put my vote in for Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, I think I'd probably put mine in for either Metroid or for I unfortunately didn't get to play it, but it looked fun, Ratchet and Clank. So
I'm gonna come in with the game of the year hot take and say Deathloop.
Deathloop. I knew it. I just knew I knew you were gonna say Deathloop.
All right. So two hot takes.
I'm
all
mad.
right.
I had to play that game. I'm so mad I haven't played that game.
It's really good.
I got the steelbook just sitting on my dresser. Haven't even.
Bobby, I've heard. I've heard
the steelbook.
Chin, I know Chin. I'm always like, Chin, you gotta play this. You gotta play this. He's like me. I teach music, so I make like a decent amount of money, because lessons are expensive. But I make a decent amount of money, and I don't have to drive. Like I just turn on my computer like 10 minutes before my lessons start, warm up, and then like teach people. He's like, man, I don't have time like you. Because I can be like, I have one lesson.
Chin, I'm on your side for this one, bro. I know what it's like to commute, hour and a half commute, dude, by train and everything. I know exactly what.
Yeah. That's painful.
Excuse me, but yeah. So like, I'm like, you gotta play this. You gotta play this. He's like, I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
I'm trying my best, man.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Chin. I know it's hard.
I'm still like getting through Miles Morales. It's been a year.
Oh my
like
God.
my big thing, right, is like I'm doing reviews for 5.9, right? So I have to play through like a game in like 2-3 days, and it could be like a 40-60 hour playthrough.
Yep.
So I'm like some games I'm sitting there playing like 14 to 18 hours a day, depending. And then I have my own YouTube channel, that I'm trying to do content for too. And like I was going to do writing for, I'm not going to say their name, but that large company. And then I decided I didn't want to be a part of that because they were kind of shitty.
Dox them. Tell it. Say the dox
I'm not doxing.
Right now.
No. We're not doing that here. We're above that here at 5.9. But yeah, it ended up being like it ends up that I basically like a lot of my time is devoted to like playing games, reviewing, writing, and all this stuff. So like I play a lot, and Chin has like a job like a human, and doesn't just live in his room all day. So I've tried to tell him like I got him Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
right?
Yep.
And I got him that for Christmas. Like with we're all adults now. I get him something for Christmas. I just give him to him in November. I don't care. And then, let him enjoy it, So I got him that, and I was like, yeah, you got to play that, man. I've been playing it. It's actually really, really good. And I think Lethal, you said it was really good, right?
I didn't play it. I played the demo, but I played up the demo was really good. Yeah, there was like they had like I'm gonna be honest, I played on Switch. That's where I played that game. They had like a cloud version trial, and I was I bought my OLED. I really want to try out this on the OLED. Let me check it out. And so I was like, oh, this is fun. Like I would buy it 100% on like my PlayStation, but I was like, it was cool for what I tried out, and so I can see like I can understand why people are like, yo, this was a sleeper hit. Like no one saw this coming. Not to mention this game got announced, I think like really late too. So like again. Just a huge sleeper hit of a game that launched, but I can see it for sure.
I will say biggest snub of the Game Awards nominations is that Guardians of the Galaxy is not in best art direction, and that is criminal because that is
Save it
for
the videos afterwards when we make those for 5.9.
Here's my only other question on that, and then we can move on because I know we got other things to talk about. It didn't miss the mark to be awarded things, right? Like I heard many good things about that. How is it not on Game of the Year? Like I heard huge things about
that.
It.
I don't. I don't really know. I really don't. I mean, it's in Best Action / Best Action Adventure. I know it's in there. I think it's in.
It's in best narrative, I think.
Best narrative or something like that. It's in the categories, but it's not in the game of the year.
I'm just saying, Nas spends time on the Twitch playing like Bum Simulator and like whatever that new like Rift 2 game is. And he really liked Guardians of the Galaxy. If he gives it high praise, I gotta trust it's a good game. You know what I mean?
I mean, though, are you really taking praise from the guy who plays Bum Simulator seriously, though? Nas L. I love you, Nas.
I'm just saying he breaks away from his usual playthroughs of like Diablo 2, and he's like, it's a good game.
So the takeaway is that it's a really good game.
It is a really good game.
It's a really good
Anyways,
game.
we can move on. I was just a little confused that it didn't make it up there. We got other things to talk about.
Well, again, sub to the channel, guys. We're going to have a ton of stuff when it comes to covering the Game Awards, our own personal takes and thoughts of just the year of gaming itself. And apparently we're going to have some videos on, hey, Game Awards, what the F were you doing here? So, yeah, we'll be going with that. So make sure, again, stick around for that stuff. Sub, hit the notification bell, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go on to the next couple of topics that Lethal will actually be covering also in the weekly wrap-up. So make sure you actually follow that as well. He'll probably be having one out this weekend. But
Yes, sir.
the next one is going to be about the Sony mobile phone controller and also the fact that Razer is now doing some kind of dockable Android handheld. Do you want to give us a little bit more info on that, Lethal, from what you've been seeing so far?
I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, it's simply, for at least the PlayStation one, it's just a patent, right? These patents, they get flown out on the internet. People find them. It generates this humongous hype. And so now everybody's talking about it. But I think it's an interesting topic because we are getting, I don't know about you guys, but we are getting to like this day and age now where like people are taking like gaming on the go, but on their phone, much more serious now. I mean, obviously Microsoft is seeing this, right? We're seeing xCloud on the phone, which I tried out in the beginning. Terrible, did not work. I came back, revisited, I think maybe 3 months ago, a lot better. And so, something like this, I'm not surprised by it. Plus, PlayStation has mentioned how they're getting more into the mobile market now, and they want to do a lot more with that. And so, a patent floating around that like, hey, connected to your phone, didn't necessarily don't know what it'd be for. I mean, the obvious one, at least currently, would be what, remote play. That would make the most sense.
Yes.
We have rumors. I mean, Jim Ryan has hinted at like, hey, we're working on our own cloud, solution. Don't know exactly what that's going to be yet. I think all of us here are praying to God that they just take PlayStation Now and they revamp the hell out of that thing. And so, the idea of them coming out, PlayStation coming out with their very own controller that looks like a DualShock 4, if you ask me. I mean, I think
I saw that.
We'll probably float it around here, but it looks like a DualShock 4 controller. So I mean, I know not a lot of people are the biggest fans of that controller, but I didn't hate it, and so I think it's pretty exciting to see them come out with their own controller. Because if there's one thing I definitely would do, I probably would get this one, because if there's any games I'm gonna play, like remote play is one thing maybe, but if PlayStation does actually come out with their own a way better cloud solution, I would definitely buy that to be able to play these games, wherever I'm at on the go. If that's like, on an airplane or something like that. Maybe not the airplane, because you probably don't have Wi-Fi, but like maybe if you're in the airport, I don't know, somewhere where you're not home. Where you're not home, obviously. Maybe in the library. I don't know. Where else are you gonna be pulling this thing out? I don't know. But the point is, it's pretty cool to see that like, people are coming out with their own controllers right now, right? So it's a pretty cool thing to see. And I know, Tan, you brought up the whole thing with the Razer and what they're coming out with. Again, more people just competing in this kind of like portable, gaming system thing now. It's getting so popular. Steam Deck is one thing, right? And everybody's hyped about that. Razer's like, hey, we want to hop. We want to hop on the hype too. So them essentially, what that's about is them just trying to come up with their own thing too. But it's going to be Android based, which I'm not surprised. Android's, I think, in almost everything. Isn't Switch Android, or no? Maybe no more. I don't even know. There's so much. What's it called? Just so many people coming up with their own takes on these different devices now. So I don't know. What do you guys think? It's interesting. These devices are just becoming more and more popular, and by like the next year, we're probably gonna have so many different like third-party solutions for all of these things. It's gonna be crazy.
Well, I can definitely see the Sony one. I mean, again, if this goes away, looking into and everything, I can see the Sony one doing well, especially because as someone who lives in a country where there, like, when I take the train to work, I get on the same car every single day and I go to my same spot. I have my spot on the train because it's that early in the morning, right? Right. But there's an older woman who gets on. I mean, if I had to take a guess, she's probably in her 50s or so. But she gets on 2 stations after mine. And she always has her Switch, she has her headphones on, and she is always playing games. And then there's 2 more stations after that, and there's a guy that gets on, and he plays his Vita. Yes, Vita's still popular actually in Japan. Wow. And so they're always playing those those mobile consoles and everything, right? So everyone has a phone these days, right? Everyone does. And so I can easily see something where a Sony mobile phone controller style thing could easily take off, especially in those areas where everyone is doing that all the time. Because I'll be honest, like when it comes to some of these mobile games where you get to turn your phone sideways and use the little like controller D-pad or whatever on the screen and touching that, like, those are terrible. I'm sorry, those are absolutely terrible. And if this is something that can make that actually feel good, then by all means, go for it. I absolutely say 100% go for it. So I don't know how anyone can play with touch controls trying to do a first-person shooter or anything like that where you have your phone sideways. I'm just like, ugh, I can't do it.
Well, it's funny. Like two things. One, it's funny because there's actually some smartphones out there that are designed for gaming, and they have like little touch pads built onto the phone. Terrible. But hey, I mean, there's a market for people. I also wonder if Sony has any like hidden plans to push back into the smartphone market like they did back in like 2015. I don't think they still make their smartphone.
I don't think so.
But like, I mean,
I don't think they would.
I don't think so. There's no point.
Yeah, if it comes with that sod and half DualShock, come on, I'll do it.
Well, I mean, the better thing to do would be to treat it like Stadia, where they do revamp, say like PS Now, right? Mm-hmm. They make that so it's like Game Pass mixed with the cloud, right? And you pay $15. It gets you your PlayStation Plus, your Game Pass kind of thing, and it gets you the cloud service. And then make it so that like if you sign up for 6 months at once, you get the controller, kind of like Stadia did.
Yeah,
you do that, and boom, that service and that controller is going to be everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden you have anyone with a smartphone that's within the last 3 years can play any PlayStation game they want, anytime they want, and you're pulling in money at that point as Sony.
And that's what's important too. They have the library to back up anything like this. That's the one thing I think I take away from like if PlayStation does it, how successful will it be? It'll be successul. People are going to want to take their library on the go. And then any prior PlayStation 1 games, some Ape Escape, on the bus. Like, come on, I'll bust out that grip. I don't care. I'll bust it out.
Oh yeah, I'll play like some Crash Bandicoot or some Spyro. All day
for sure.
That would be super cool. I will tell you, we mentioned the Razer. I won't buy Razer. We talked about this before the podcast.
We just totally neglected the Razer section. Like,
I'm not. We don't need to talk about it.
This is the worst.
No, Razer already makes a handheld thing that we sell at my Apple store. It's like $100.
The Kishi.
And it is the cheapest little thing I've ever felt. We used to have a demo of it on like the sale floor, and it's just cheap and flimsy. And people are like, should I get this? And I go, no. That's the biggest waste of $100 I could ever see anyone like wasting at that store. Like, it's awful. So like, no, I would never. Look, I told you guys before we started, I have a Razer mouse. I love this thing. It's perfectly lightweight. It's wireless. I don't know why I got a wireless mouse, but I like it.
I love my wireless mouse.
But
I wired all the way.
I would 100% rather go with like a Sony DualShock like 4.5, whatever they call it, that goes on the side of my phone.
The DualShock 4.25.
Yeah,
exactly. There we go.
Yeah. No, let's just move on from Razer. Don't even want to.
All right. So, all right. Well, we actually only have one more topic for this podcast here today, guys, but it's kind of a big one, especially if you are in gaming, which again, if you're watching this, then you most likely are.
We're just a parent desperate for a gift.
Yeah, really. But apparently some lawmakers are trying to make a bill to target bot scalping. And when I first saw this, I was like, how in the world are you ever going to enforce this? Because if you've been living under a rock for the last couple of years, scalping is, what's the word I'm even looking for right now? Just crazy at the moment.
It's a pandemic.
It is. It is literally its own pandemic.
Hell on earth.
Whether it is, people, whether it's PlayStation, whether it's Xbox, PC parts, you name it. It
Spider-Man
is almost
tickets.
Impossible.
Spider-Man tickets.
Spider-Man tickets
are getting what?
But really that too.
Someone listed Spider-Man tickets for $25,000 on eBay because they bought them through a bot. Yeah, I don't know if anyone bought them, but they were listed for that much.
If somebody buys Spider-Man tickets, we're getting off topic, but if someone buys Spider-Man tickets for $25,000. That person has way too much money.
If someone, it's just funny because someone could spend that much money, and I could go watch it for free on this magic little box I have. It'll be in Russian with subtitles and filled with like a 2014 smartphone, but I wouldn't have spent $25,000 on tickets.
God, dude, if you spend $25,000 for a simple movie ticket, that's just
like if it's like they found an unfinished Stanley Kubrick movie and they were like, we're showing this twice and then we're burning the film, then I might drop 25 grand. You know what I mean? Like, to see that, I'm not paying $25,000 to see. I love Spider-Man, and I will not pay $25,000 under any circumstances to ever see a Spider-Man movie.
But also, Tallen, you're right. Like, how?
Yeah.
Like, what could they do to enforce this? Like, what?
And that's the thing, right? We've tried, you've seen things like Nvidia try to come out with the like with their graphics cards, right? Like they had the what was it? They added like the end of the name of it or something like that, like the type of graphics cards you have, where it was basically targeting Ethereum miners and everything, right?
Oh yeah, the LHR, the low hash rate.
The LHR, right? Like trying to do something like that and everything. But let's be perfectly honest, it really hasn't, at least to my knowledge, hasn't done anything. And we haven't seen, all that crypto mining stuff crash or anything like that. Right. Scalpers are still buying these cards out. I mean, I don't know about how it is in the States or anything, but if I go into the local PC store here and they actually have graphics cards, you can find graphics cards, but at the scalped prices. I am not paying $3,000 for a 3070. It's not happening. I'm just not. It's not worth it. As much as I want to upgrade my card, I want to relieve my poor little 1080 and just put it into my streaming PC and let it relax until it, eventually dies out like all components do. But I'm not paying $3,000 for a 3070. It's just not happening.
I'll tell you this right now, Tallen, the best thing for you to do is to find someone who does pay $3,000 and then you buy their old 2080 for like $300.
Yeah, well, that's still the promise. So it's just trying to find that stuff. So
I know.
I mean, I do want to get your guys' thoughts though. I mean, do you think this is going to make a difference? I personally don't think it is.
I'm going to be honest.
The title of it does sound great and everything. Like, oh yeah, finally we're going to be able to find parts and PS5s and Xboxes and PC parts. But it's like, this isn't going to do anything in my personal opinion.
Honestly,
what do you guys think?
The solution's really easy, but also kind of impossible at the moment. Is putting the product in a store, right?
Yep.
And you can't don't release it for
online.
Sell it online. You can't sell it online.
Yep.
No product pickup, nothing like that, because you can still buy a product. Just you have to walk into the store and buy it. But we're in the middle of a pandemic. You can't do that. You can't make it so that you're having hundreds and thousands of people go out on the daily all day, like crowding into stores, trying to fight for a PlayStation or an Xbox. You can't. It's just not morally right at this point. So it's realistically, if the world is able to go back to normal, that's when you'll kind of see these restraints kind of ease. But honestly, until then, that to me, that's just the reality of it. I don't think a law is going to really affect it.
Right. And then, but again, it's not just that though, right? It's also the chip shortages. It's the raw materials, right? It's the factories not being able to keep up with, all this stuff. And so it's a huge domino effect, right?
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
I feel like this, like it was like this announcement or whatever, right? It's simply like, yeah, it's supposed to look good, but realistically, it's literally not doing anything because there's already so many other problems, right? So
yeah,
I don't think it's gonna do anything. Lethal, you've been silent. What do you think, man?
I mean, you guys pretty much touched it. I mean, a part of me wants to pray to God that like this will. No, I mean, I pray that like this would do something because like I don't know how much in the past like I don't know, government I guess in general that does this type of enforcement and stuff like that. I don't know how serious they took it before. I only imagine that in the last 2 years they've been like, okay, it's a way more serious issue than than we can how then we've treated it before pretty much, right? Because we are going it's a pandemic, right? So we've switched a lot of how we operate now. It is a lot more of an online thing now. A lot of stuff you see now, it's like, oh, online only though. Then pick up at store and it's like, oh, okay, this is different now. So I feel like hopefully there is something that they can create. I mean, see, the thing is I'm not the biggest in terms of like how this stuff works is this anti-bot type of software stuff. I don't know how it works, but I mean, I hope that like it's something different where like, hey, the moment like somebody who's using a bot start doing some bot type stuff, they get a little pop-up that's like, hey, the law is on your ass or something, like I don't know, something like to let them know like you stop it. I don't know, but I hope it's something new. It's the point I'm trying to say is I hope it's something new that they've come up with, with the help of the government. I mean, come on now, like let's make, like this should be something way more, somehow, I don't know.
Well, especially
people are smart too. So I don't know.
And actually you've touched on the one thing that I wanted to mention as well is that some of these people are really smart, right? So let's say the government, outsource this to some other tech company or something like that to make something to actually enforce this, I guarantee you within a month at max, these scalpers and all these people, they're gonna crack it like that.
They'll crack it. They're still gonna invent it.
Yeah.
They'll crack it, and then things will not change at all.
Like the thing about this too, it's like I like the idea. I like that they're trying to find a solution.
On paper, it sounds good.
Yes,
right?
it's great, and I will support them if they want to keep trying different things. If it fails, it fails, but at least they tried. But at the same time, it's like if it's like wishful think. It's like your parents not understanding that you can't pause an online game. You know what I mean? It's like these boomers in Washington, they're trying. They mean well, but like you said, like there's smart people out there that are gonna know how to circumvent.
They don't get it. These guys have like they got like 10 PCs all around them with like 20 monitors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how these things work.
They're like, you know what honestly it remind me of? It's like the guy who, he's sitting there, monitors around them with keyboards and everything. They kind of like just do a Zen moment and then hype for like 2 seconds, boom, everything gets cracked. You're just like, oh, well, that just happened.
Man.
Dude, they're these boomers in Washington are up against like 12-year-olds in Russia, dude. They're outclassed, like they
were raised for this stuff, like they were taught this from like two.
The girls are taught ballet, and the men are taught how to crack government codes and scalp graphics cards. It's just it's gender norms out in the Siberia.
It's just like it's like Mozart, It's just these little child prodigies of like bot running.
Oh my god! Oh man! All right, but yeah, I don't know. Viewers, let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you personally think about this? Chin, I absolutely loved your analogy of the parents trying to say pause your online game. That hits so true to home. The amount of times I tell my parents, I can't stop this. This is online.
It's like, I get it. You need me to set the kitchen table, but like, give me a second. I will.
Oh my god! You literally just made me go back in time to my childhood. Oh my god. All right. Well, I think with that though, guys, that is actually all the topics. So viewers, let us know your thoughts down below when it comes to the topics that we covered here on the podcast. Did you have any particular takes when it comes to the Pokemon remakes, Halo Infinite, this build to attack, farmers and scalpers and everything like that, the mobile controllers, things like that, and the Game Awards? Again, what are your personal, let us know down below. What are your top games for 2021? It's been a good and a rough year at the same time. Whether it's due to the pandemic and everything, but it's been an interesting year for gaming, I would say, and we'll have to see how 2022 is going to handle it. So let us know your down below in the comments. But other than that, any last minute words you guys want to throw to the video?
Just vote for Kana. Sorry.
Vote. Okay. Yep. I appreciate that. All right. Chin, Bobby, anything else?
You said farmers, and I was like, I know you meant like bot farmers, like, but for some, I just thought some like old fat dude with overalls in Ohio or something.
I mean, support your farmers too.
Support your local farmers. All right.
Support your farmers.
Buy your corn. That's okay. We need that.
Your beets, your cherries.
Bot farmers, okay? Bot farmers. Like,
I thought he was talking about the farmer with a shotgun.
Oh god. We're getting way off topic now.
That's the end.
All right. That's me today, guys. Anyway, I've been Tallen with 5 Gaming Direct, joined here by Lethal, LittleBobby, and Chin. And we'll see you guys all in the next one. And of course, always remember, Lugia is number 1. Peace out.
You got to end it like that. I'm gone. I'm going home.
He's right.
Yeah.